Welcome again, you don't know, to another episode of the WSXM. As always, tell a friend, you know the formalities. Let's forego that for now. But the video we're about to take a look at, let me give you a little backstory. If you remember, recently I did a video on Mali and Burkina Faso where they kicked the French army out, the French ambassador, and closed the embassy and tell him to leave. And then in response, Macron went on a tour of Africa, trying to reconnect, um, trade on formalities with some more African countries, because they think they are losing their grip on the continent. So I said that because this video, you will understand why. So let's get into this video and then we discuss it after. Boom.
Over 50 EU troops in Niger already, helping to build up the capacity of the local Nigerian forces in a military program that is expected to last for 3 years. The German troops, as well as those from other EU countries, are expected to join the program. Western powers like former colonial rule of France had for long established a strong presence in the Sahel, especially in Niger's neighbors Mali and Burkina Faso. But with military takeover of government in those countries, relations between both sides have been badly affected.
As a result of this, friction in diplomatic relations between France and these other countries like Mali and Burkina Faso has resulted in other players coming into the region.
Niger is a relatively stable democracy, and as France and its European allies pull out of Mali and Burkina Faso, they're turning their attention there.
Niger has turned out to be the bride in the Sahel. The US increased its interest there. It currently has about 3 bases, an FBI base, CIA radar base, as well as 2 military bases that it has in Niger. France too has moved more or less to Niger, and now Germany is showing the same interest. So clearly, it's a coalition of Western forces focusing on Niger as a way to have a stronger footprint in the region.
The Sahel region has become a hub for some terror groups. It's also a major route for irregular migration to Europe and human trafficking, problems that Western powers are very keen on solving. So analysts say it will be unthinkable for these Western powers to abandon the region altogether.
And so the Western countries have an interest in a country like Niger, firstly because it borders almost all the countries in the Sahel that have high terrorism challenges. And so having that kind of foothold would allow the Western countries understand the groups that are behind this terrorist advancement, as it were, and then, of course, prevent them from carrying out any attacks.
Experts believe there's also the economic interest, which is often less talked about. Niger is rich in uranium and is the 5th largest producer of the mineral in the world. In 2021, 25% of the country's uranium exports went to Europe, where it was used to produce electricity. French nuclear giant Orano has a huge investment in uranium in the country, and as early March this year, it was in talks with the government to explore new sites in the northern Alit region of Niger. Analysts say this period presents a golden opportunity for Niger, one of the world's poorest countries, to get these Western powers and others to come together and help change the fortune of the country for good.
So guys, they seen that video. You see, colonizers trying to take over another country in Africa, which is Niger. I never really know much about Niger, but I know they do border Mali and Burkina Faso, which, as I said earlier, the French just jump over the border and set up shop. The Americans are already there. The Americans have 3 bases, as in the video. 2 military, 1 CIA. Germany is there, the EU members are there, and France set up shop there from before this. They have been siphoning off the resources from there, which is uranium, which is, this country is the 5th largest deposit in the world in uranium. So there's a reason for all these armies setting up shop in Niger. And what is the excuse they use? Terrorism. Every time they pop up somewhere, it's always terrorism. And in a way, you see CIA especially set up shop. No, there is problem. That's mean they basically own the government there. Because how they can have uranium and still be one of the poorest countries on the continent? Those 2 things don't add up. It cannot add up. And then Shehil, the security expert, this guy, where did you get these people from? He see the issue Burkina Faso and Mali had with the French and the other some of the EU military people that was there and NATO, and you're gonna invite them over to Niger to come help you. Basically, do the same thing they were doing in Mali and Burkina Faso because they know they are basically saying these terrorists. So how is it the CIA, who have some of the most sophisticated weapons, intelligence, and one of the better army, the French is there, and the French is there, and the EU is there, but yet they can't find a few terrorists? It's not like it's a forest or it's like the Arabian countries where you have the mountains and the caves and hills where they can't find them. They show the road, this such a road that they say the terrorists operate and the so-called um, human traffickers. So you can't pass through the airport with a tic-tac in your pants and they don't know. So how you can't find a few terrorists with all these advanced intelligence and cooperation with these different countries have in the country, and they always use terrorism to set up shop in a country, because of resources, which is uranium is very expensive. It's very difficult to get. You only find it on the continent. Well, not really on the continent alone, but the continent have the most deposit of uranium globally. So this is the only reason they set up shop, and the excuses terrorism, because they always throw that out. They just throw that out there as a reason for them to do anything in Africa. And when the NATO get involved and the EU, that's their go-to response: terrorism. I've never heard of this country before. Honestly, I've never heard of them. And even so, they was next door with Burkina Faso and Mali. So this entire time when the war was going on, when the terrorists was coming in and kidnapping the women and kids, Burkina, Niger is literally next door. They didn't know they was there this whole time. Why now is you want to send troops and have a 3-year plan and all of this? And just last month, March, as I hear in the video, they tried to sign a new deal with the government to get more property. Basically, the government just give them more property, sign a deal, take the property, go get the uranium from there, take it, go with it, give me my cut, the government, but the citizens won't get nothing because they're not building no infrastructure there. Because army don't come to build, they come to destroy. So if they was at least building out infrastructure like electrical grids and refineries for the uranium and like building dams and make sure they have enough water, good water flow, clean water. Make sure they have what else? Like roads, train lines, all of this. But if the Chinese comes in now and do this, oh, the Chinese doing dead chops and they tying these countries, they using these poor countries. But what are you there doing now currently? Not one, not two, not three countries. Multitude, because the EU is a couple of countries, including the US and France and Germany. So they all collaborating to suck this country dry of its resources, which is difficult to do because this for some reason Africa likes they just keep producing, they keep finding out more deposits here and there. So that's the whole idea now, is to go to the government that's non-existent, sign these deals to say that they own the property. So whatever they find is theirs. So nothing goes to the locals. And then they say, oh, it's a poor country. It's the poorest country in the world. So they're only going to use these people now to dig, basically, and give them pennies on the dollar for a salary. But yet you're saying it's the poorest country in the world. And you know for the government are doing that because the only way so much basis can be in any one country is have to be governmental corruption. It's obvious. Anyway, I hope you learned something. As again, go look it up yourself. Niger. They border Mali and Burkina Faso, and also they are in there. I think they are in the EU, the African Union. I'm gonna look, but they should be. But I will look. So why not ask other African countries for help? Why are you going to the Europeans and the Americans and the West? Go to other African countries and tell them to come and help. Just like how Uganda send help to the Congo to fend off the what going on there, and they're winning. Tell other countries send army over to help you, and then sell uranium and a good trade, sign trade deals where it benefits the country and help the citizens. What anyway? Sometimes these presidents, I don't even know what to say about it. And then this just stupid security expert is another cunt talking about he need them to come and help. Help the what? I've never heard of this country with anti-terrorism yet. So all of a sudden they're full of terrorists. Anyway, that's what they did to mood off Gaddafi. Anyway, I don't want to go back into that. So anyway, thanks for watching. You don't know. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You don't know. Peace. One love. Boom.